Well, let's get some more insight with this latest trends in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We're joined virtually on the program by Kate Riabachi from Pretoria in South Africa. Good morning, Kate. Thank you for joining us on the program. Quite a number of issues to raise, but perhaps what you might consider some sort of silver lining, the recent retreat and the reports of, the take-back of towns and villages, about 20 of them. Seeing that that latest report, how do you internalize all of that?
Good morning. Thank you. First of all, let's take this on positive note. As you said, it's the day 201 of the war, of the 3-day war that was supposed to be going on. And the Russian forces are progressing rearwards, and we are making a major breakthroughs, and the spirits among the Ukrainian public are high. We are very determined. We are progressing actively towards the northern Donbass axis, liberating over the 30 settlements, which is around 3,000 square kilometers and more than 1,200 square miles. As I say, among the Ukrainian public, the spirits are high. A lot of the refugees, in accordance to the UNHCR data, are returning home. There was the 1st September, the children started to go to school. So it was at the same time a celebratory event, but at the same time very reserved. At the same time, we have to keep in mind that while many people are returning back home and feeling more safer as our counteroffensive progressing, we have to keep in mind that as we progress in our counteroffensive, we are going to discover more and more atrocities, mass murders, a lot of horrible things, which will be significantly impacting on the reaction from the international community. But so there are two sides to it. The spirits are high. At the same time, we are mindful, cautious, and very mindful of the price we're paying for this counteroffensive.
So sort of mixed bag, definitely. I mean, there's this celebration, if you could call it that, with this latest retreat. There's what you said, I mean, new discoveries of atrocities. And there's the other part with this, the attack on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. I mean, we're heading towards a time when all the more energy is important. We're getting into winter. Yes, people are returning, but there'll be need for energy and all of that. Hitherto, I mean, energy installations were meant to be immune from wars and attacks such as this, but clearly that's not the case. So with this, perhaps call it downer, how would you say people are reacting to this, especially back home, celebrating on the one hand and then fears, perhaps?
Absolutely. As you said about the Zaporizhzhia ZPP, as it is called, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, practically Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is becoming the capital of insecurity in the world. And the risks are incredibly high. Just yesterday, we switched off the 6th reactor in terms of establish the more secure environment at the power plant and around it. We are applying all the measures we can at this particular moment. We are mindful. We understand the risks. On the personal level, among the Ukrainians, as I say, the mood is celebratory and reserved as well. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind that for centuries, we are witnessing the situation where we have to be mindful that there are no stable agreements that can be made with the Russian Federation. Which I mean by that is, in the words of the former leader of the Republic of Ichkeria, may his wonderful soul rest in peace, Johar Dudayev, he always said from their practice in Chechnya, You make the agreement with Russians and they don't follow through. They never follow through. They regroup and they replan. So we are acting very actively according to the situation. It's constantly changing. We are mindful of the risks. We are mindful of the risks that winter carries. But at the same time, we know that our allies are preparing energy-wise, food-wise as well, in terms of the food security. And so we are as well. We're also preparing energy-wise for this winter. This winter is not going to be easy, but we are preparing.
Speaking of that, I imagine you've seen that statement which President Zelensky put on Telegram, quite emotional. In fact, some have described this as perhaps one of the most emotional statements. And I'll just paraphrase some of the things in that statement. And this is what he said, essentially: if they were to choose without gas or without you being Russia in this case, then they would choose without Russia. If they were to choose without light or without Russia, it would be without Russia. Without water or without Russia, they would choose without water. It went on, without food even, or without Russia. He says the choice will be without Russia, saying that cold, hunger, darkness, and thirst are not as scary and deadly for us as your friendship and brotherhood, referring to Russia. So it sort of gives you a sense of the mindset that the Ukrainian president, and perhaps by extension the armed forces and the people have as you get into a winter. I'd just like to know how much of a reflection of people's mindset is this statement from President Volodymyr Zelensky?
100%, for sure. The social polling is showing over 90% people supporting the victory of Ukraine and going till the end. And as His Excellency Major General Pat Kim just mentioned, I really agree with his statement. We are going till the end. And as this week progresses, as this counteroffensive progresses, we are witnessing the clear signs, and in according also to the director of the CIA, we're clearly witnessing the signs of possible defeat of Russia. The morale is very low. The plans, many plans they've been making are broken. We are clearly seeing this through this counteroffensive we are conducting at the moment. And finally, Ukraine, over the past several months, has actively shown allies and the world that we're capable and we will fight this war till the end. And as this week progresses, I also want to remember a few things. There is a reason why we have in Ukraine several expressions. First of all, it's abo pan, abo propав, which means either you are or you're not. So this war for us is for we are. We are, we were, and we always will be. Eventually, we have been fighting Russian Federation over more than 300 years. It depends where you count from. If you count from other civilization, then it's more than 7,000 years. So we are ready and we are prepared till the end. The second phrase really reflects on our culture and our stance in life. Is never say hope, don't не кажи hope until you don't jump. So don't say hope until you don't jump and complete the task. We are very preserved people, we are very hardworking, and we are determined to go till the end. And the last one, which really reminds me to be thoughtful and mindful of this last week's passing of Her Majesty the Queen. A lot of lessons have to be learned. And our strategy is keep calm and carry on. So we are determined, we are united, we are stronger than ever, and we are going to go till the end for our freedom, victory, and liberation.
Quite instructive words there. And really, for the onlooker, the average onlooker out there, the question is usually, isn't there just an easy fix to this? I mean, can't we all just get along? I know it's not as simple as that, but as we wind down, you have reiterated the resolve of the Ukrainian people, the support for the president and all. But on the flip side, I mean, you talk about Russia. A previous guest, as you referenced, talked about how Russia can be very strategic. Now, with this latest support that is being played up from China, the planned meeting between the Chinese leader and the Russian president, which some are saying might even change the face of this war altogether. Is that a concern for you as we wind down?
It is. That's absolutely correct. But at the same time, as General Patakin mentioned, absolutely agree with this statement. Chinese are very mindful and very careful in their strategies, and the counteroffensive itself, the progression of the war of Ukraine, they always watch this very closely, and the action from the China will be determined by the further results of the war in Ukraine. So no unthoughtful decisions will be made. And the very war in Ukraine really determines the further progression of what China is going to do in the future in terms of also countries such as Taiwan.
Right. Quite an interesting conversation we've had. I wish we could go on, but we have to run now. To do this, perhaps another time. I'm hoping the next time we'll talk, maybe we'll talk about peace on the horizon, really. But I'd like to thank you so much. I'll be speaking with Kate Ryabchi, who's the former head of Ukrainian diaspora. She joins us from South Africa, specifically Pretoria. Thank you for your time, and we do hope that we can all get along eventually.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.